Well, all that comedy investigation into the rise of the Comedy Czar's hell world was exhausting. I had to get the hell out of there. So I've been out at my cabin just trying to think about something else for a change. Problem is, there's no free will, and I don't really get to choose what to think about. Been thinking about a lot of different things, but seems like for every question I try to answer, I end up with 10 more. It's getting ridiculous. But mostly, the question that still haunts me every day is, how did comedy get so shit? Was it ever good? Why the hell do I even know who this guy is? And why for a moment, before my brain kicks in, does it seem normal that he's hanging out inside that sacred space at the center of the comedy universe? The comedy mothership green room.
How hard we laugh in that green room. And
it's the most fun.
And the best thing about the green room is how restrictive it is.
Oh yeah, I love restrictions.
That you just can't go in there. You got to earn that spot in the treehouse, And so anytime you open the door, you'll see, some of the best comics alive. That's our little space, man, and it is the greatest thing on earth.
It's just impossible to make sense of anything going on here. And I can't help but feel like I must be living on another planet. I needed guidance. You know that our cerebral comedy guru, David Lucas, once told us that after his shows, we'd be thinking a lot.
My jokes are very cerebral. So if you come to my show, I might say a lot of crazy shit, but on your drive home, you're gonna be thinking a lot.
And his wisdom is kind of what sparked this whole investigation into the comedy world, but I knew I needed to start thinking even more. So I wanted to go out and see David's act, and hopefully start to try and put all these disordered puzzle pieces together, to understand what's really going on at the heart of it all. Now, there's a lot of great stages out there, but for me, my favorite venue in the entire world, hands down, is a legendary Massey Hall in Toronto. Its stage has been graced by the presence of the most iconic, influential, and beloved artists of multiple generations. Gordon Lightfoot, Oscar Peterson, Charlie Parker, Joni Mitchell, Neil Young, Patsy Cline, Bob Dylan, Ella Fitzgerald, Aretha Franklin, Rush. Now, I don't know who any of these people are, but my dad says they're very important. I even saw my first ever stand-up comedy show there, Jerry Seinfeld, when I was just a wee lad. It's the oldest and most iconic venue in Canada, and performing there has long been considered a landmark event in one's career. And finally, in 2025, the strength of her stage's mythical hardwood planks would truly be put to the test, as the killers of Kill Tony, including massive comedy success David Lucas,
I'll put my hand in my ass and make you smell it.
would be taking the stage for what promised to be a wonderful comedy event. So I watched the show. When it was over, you know what? He was right. I was thinking a lot. I was thinking about how bizarre it was that these low-level, no offense, but subhuman cretins were able to perform at such a hallowed theater, wondering perhaps if I was the fool for giving the venue such reverence all these years. I pictured the ghosts of all my heroes standing on stage behind David, shaking their heads, not at David, but at themselves for being such fools, for thinking that making it to that iconic stage had meant something to them, that it meant something about their career, their art, and about the legacy they've left behind after they died. Poor Gord. I hated to see that. Seeing David's show only made me feel more confused about what the hell is going on with all this comedy stuff. And on that drive home, I really was thinking, why does everything that ever seemed good, like when I was a kid, now seems to be rapidly deteriorating into utter shit? And when I looked around at the other people in attendance at that show, evidently enjoying themselves, why did it feel like I was in another dimension? I tried putting a comedy podcast on, but all of them were just interviews with the CIA or the FBI or some other guy that works for the president. What the hell was actually going on here? I couldn't relax until I figured it out. In my quest for clarity, I even, and I'm ashamed to admit this, but I even went on the sacred pilgrimage to Comedy Mecca and visited the Comedy Spaceship down in Austin, Texas. I paid about $800 for a ticket. My ticket said something about a mandatory drink, but I'd lost the stub and couldn't remember how many I was dictated to have. The vibe in there was so tense, I thought I might get literally shot in the head if I did anything wrong, so I drank about 8 Negronis just to be safe. I went to find the washroom, and when I got there, To my dismay, I discovered that Joe, the Comedy Czar, had actually removed his own special from the Comedy Wall of Fame that he put up there. Maybe he just got embarrassed after we pointed it out, but I think it's the first sign that he knows his scheme is at risk of being exposed and he's begun to hide his tracks. But anyway, I watched the show. It was, fine, I guess, but, it really couldn't compare to the pleasure I experienced releasing those 8 Negronis into the toilet pipe. The armed guards at the door stole my phone and placed it in a locked bag, so I wasn't allowed to take any more photos, so I sat there drawing a picture of what I was witnessing on the free napkin that came with my Negronis. Now we've been getting a lot of feedback saying that we are very negative, so here's something positive about the experience. The show is only a couple hours long, which for $800 is insane, but it's so boring that it feels like it's about 5 or 6 hours, so that improves the value at least. As you walk into the room, you're reminded of 2 of the most horrific acts of brutality ever committed. Which is good because when you're thinking about what happens when an atomic bomb blows up over your head, it makes the terrible show you're witnessing seem like an okay alternative. No idea who the comics were. Who cares? They were shit. And of course they were, we already knew that. What we want to find out is why or how. But the vibe was very bad in there, very negative, and so I got the hell out of there and began walking down 6th Street, where a horde of scary, methed-out ghouls began to oogle me, which, compared to the vibe in the comedy spaceship, was honestly much more welcoming. And that's when I saw it. In the alleyway behind the mothership, a flock of comedy pilgrims had gathered, lining up. They told me they had traveled from all over the country for their chance to win 1 minute of stage time there, their opportunity to climb the ladder to a higher tier class of human. A real comedian. I couldn't believe how many of them there were. They were all over the place, living in their cars, in tents. So many comedy pilgrims, everywhere, just taking over the entire area. And I started thinking about how the hell all these people ended up here. Started thinking about human migration. Like, how did you end up where you are? No matter who or where you are, at some point, some guy in your lineage looked around and said to himself, "This, I gotta get out of here." Packed up and went to a new place. And with that spirit in mind, I packed my bags and headed home. When I got back to my cabin, I placed a photo of my guru above my typewriter with a sign that said, "Keep thinking." And that's what I did for several weeks, obsessively, compulsively. And it led me to discover what's actually going on behind all this unsettling comedy stuff. And that we were right to find it so unsettling, and evil, and vile, and that what we're witnessing with this Austin comedy thing is actually part of a massive operation designed to destroy the entire world. And I know that sounds kind of out there, but as you'll see, that's actually part of their design. I thank my comedy guru David for helping me get my thinking back on track. Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha. To answer the question of how comedy got so shit, we need to go back about 375 million years. To the first of those migrations we mentioned earlier. Migration is baked into our DNA, guys. I don't know if you knew that in advance, but I am seeing on my YouTube analytics here that 87% of you only got your grade 10. So, in case you weren't aware, humans began as simple tubes. A mouth and an asshole. Purest form of a proper organism. Just floating in the ocean somewhere, and eventually that tube evolved into this fish kind of thing. And this fish, this was the first in our lineage to become a new guy and to migrate. The ocean where he was all fucked up, and he looked around and said, "I gotta get the hell out of here." And he migrated out of the water and onto the land, becoming a land guy. He then somehow transformed into a little rat kind of thing with nipples. And the nipple rat evolved into like a monkey chimp thing or whatever. And then the chimp, or ape, or whatever, it became a human guy. And it wasn't long until those human guys, like that fish before them, looked around and said, "I gotta get the hell out of here." And they migrated to every corner of the earth. A lot of animals have these built-in mechanisms. We are no different. Just like how birds have like a magnet in their brain or something, which tells them when and where to migrate somewhere else. It's obvious from these historical records that the human instinct to say, "Fuck this, I gotta get out of here," becomes activated in times of fear. Fear is processed in the most ancient part of our brain, and it puts us into a fight or flight mode, just like the fish guy. And I don't know if you've looked around at the world lately, but people really are losing their shit. The whole world is on fire. There are crazy guys with nukes yelling at each other, and bombs are flying around all over the place. The air is full of smoke. All the fruit just tastes like wood now. We've all got microplastics in our brains. That can't be good. Plus, it's so hot out, I'm gonna piss myself. And don't even get me started on all those politics. What the hell is going on with TikTok? Why is China, doing all that stuff? Why did they close the oatmeal plant down? I wanted to keep working there. Now I got no money. I gotta pay MSRP for my steel cut. Bullshit, man. You know what? And then he says it. Ah, this, I gotta get out of here. Except this time, they've got nowhere to go. Not physically, anyway. But lucky for them, some of humanity's most powerful visionaries, the techno-wizards, have constructed a psychic ark to sail the seas of your mind and take you away from your problems and out onto a new frontier. A new reality. And here's where it gets crazy. It's a reality where there is no such thing as reality.
Lions.
The techno-wizards use their machines to ramp up your own uncertainty about what's real and what's fantasy, to the point where you're so anxious that you do anything just to be certain.
No. It's all overphonics and sonics and dimensional superaction behind glass screens. You know, if you think of something and bam, it's there in the wall.
Once you've lost connection with classic reality, you're just a guy floating out in the open ocean, desperate to find something to grab onto to save yourself, stranded and surrounded by a sea of danger. That is when the techno-wizards begin their most perverted sorcery.
The future is gonna be amazing!
They throw you a life preserver in the form of a new world, a new virtual world. In this virtual world, you're still gonna be angry all the time, but at least you'll be certain, and that feels good. And because it feels so good, you just want to stay in there forever. Until eventually you've been in there so long that your new virtual world feels more real than your old classic reality. And once it's become more convincing than classic reality, it just becomes your new reality. Congratulations, you've migrated to a new place. It's a new reality, except it's anti-reality. It's what's called a hyperreal simulacrum.
The battle for the mind of North America will be fought in the video arena.
Yeah.
The television screen is the retina of the mind's eye. Therefore, the television screen is part of the physical structure of the brain. Therefore, whatever appears on the television screen
Pay attention.
emerges as raw experience for those who watch it.
Yep.
Therefore,
Oh, yeah.
television is reality,
Yep, exactly.
and reality is less than television.
There are a lot of visionaries in this world, all with their own ideas about creating new worlds into which we can migrate. But only a few have acquired the wealth and influence to actually execute such migrations at full scale. Movements triggered by everyone saying, "I gotta get the hell out of here," happen all the time. Throughout history, wealthy, influential people have leveraged these waves in order to serve their interests, using their power to direct migrants in or out of places beneficial to fulfilling their goals. Someone we've seen exploiting the "I gotta get the hell out of here" phenomenon is this Elon guy. He was bullied a ton as a kid because he was a strange, scrawny little weak guy who could also be a bit of a dickhead. And so his teachers, his parents, nobody wanted to help him.
Did you have a happy childhood?
No, it's terrible.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Why was it terrible? You were bullied at school and had a
I was
difficult...
almost beaten to death, if you call that bullied.
He was shy and awkward at school, didn't have many friends.
On one occasion, Elon was pushed down a flight of stairs and beaten violently, leaving him in hospital for weeks.
And if that wasn't bad enough, and this is something you'll see with almost all of these anti-reality guys, Elon had a very bad dad who left him with a dad-shaped hole in his soul.
Very violent. It was not a happy childhood. My father has serious issues.
When Elon received that severe beating as a kid, his father berated him and blamed him for it, made him stand for hours, called him an idiot, and told him he was worthless. Proper bad dad stuff. All these experiences made Elon internalize the belief that this world is a scary, dangerous place. Wouldn't it be nice to just get the hell out of here? Well, later in life, he acquired an immense amount of wealth and immediately began to use it to try and reconstruct reality, to cope. He put heaps of that money into trying to build this Mars colony thing, which is never going to happen, but that doesn't matter. The real point of his Martian cope is creating a virtual reality to migrate to, one where this colony thing would actually be feasible, and he could actually escape the Earth and live on another planet. and that gives him hope that he could actually get the hell out of here. All this crap here, this is all just for Elon to fantasize about getting the hell out of here. Nobody is going to f***ing Mars, man. The world is still scary to this guy. He still feels like he's getting bullied when everyone online is telling him he's a loser. That's why he bought Twitter. Everyone on there was being mean, so he just bought the thing so he could control it. Pretended the millions of guys calling him a loser were just bots and trolls, so he could just kick them out and reshape the site into his own ideal version of reality, and then pretend that this simulated version of reality is reality. He wants to be a guy who's great at video games, but he's a total noob. He's the kid that would turn the Nintendo controller like a steering wheel while playing Mario Kart, while his mouth hangs open. Where I come from, we call that Thomasing, but Elon just wants to win something, and he can't play sports because, I mean, look at him. He never had the makings of a varsity athlete. So again, he uses his wealth to just pay guys who are actually good at video games to play the games for him. And then he pretends it's him playing the games. And then he got caught.
There are 4 things there.
And all the actual gamers all started watching him play and laughing at him.
4 things. He clearly has no idea, bro.
And started playing the games himself on stream, but just got harassed the entire time and then pretended his connection dropped so he could get the hell out of there.
Connection lost.
Elon wants him being a hero to be part of his hyper-reality as well. For a while, he was seen as a savior figure, but that illusion evaporated. He tried to reclaim his hero status by inserting himself into the rescue of those 12 Thai kids trapped in a flooded cave. He stuck his nose into the rescue operation, despite nobody asking him to, and offered them an old metal tube from the SpaceX garbage dump that they were throwing out anyway, and telling the actual rescue divers who were down there trying to do their jobs to toss the kids in this tube and pull them out. When the rescue leader told him this is insane and makes zero sense that the tube wouldn't even fit through the intricate cave system, Elon rage quit and called the guy a PDF file.
Connection lost.
He's tried to add being like a funny comedy guy to his hyper-reality, wormed his way into the stand-up comedy world, got on stage with Dave Chappelle and just got booed by an arena full of comedy fans. Rejected again. He even got into the government somehow. Started trying to cut all this funding from everything, hoping they'd give it to him instead to build more spaceships so he can get the hell out of here sooner. But the president also started bullying Elon and ended up taking away his lunch money. And now, Elon's even more messed up, even more desperate to escape, and finding it harder and harder to cling to that Mars colony cope.
With Elon, where I said, if Trump doesn't win, I want to just leave the country. And then Elon said, there's nowhere to go. Elon, you don't believe in going to Mars anymore. Elon stopped believing in Mars.
So he's allegedly retreating into a haze of ketamine-fueled escapism, just trying to get the hell out of here. The only way to make sense of all this strange behavior is that it is an effort to construct his own hyper-reality into which he can migrate and escape the scary world that rejects him. I actually saw a video of his ex-wife talking about how he does this, and I mean, she would know.
We create a parallel world to escape the world that rejects us, or the world that we find too painful to live in. But some people are so good at doing this and master such an amazing skill set that they take their world and they infuse it into our world.
She knows.
And they change the world.
Exactly.
And these are the people we call visionaries, people who move between worlds.
Exactly, yes.
Between states of consciousness.
Elon learned firsthand the idea of constructing parallel worlds and hyper-realities during childhood. He grew up in South Africa, a country designed by white guys from Europe who had to get the hell out of there, move to Africa, but then decided they didn't want to have black guys as neighbors. So they created this hyper-reality in which God commanded the white guys to preserve their race or whatever, and they had no choice but to segregate all the black guys in another part of town. Because if God wants it, then, I mean, what can you do? You gotta do it. And by getting all the white guys to migrate their psyches into this hyper-reality, it allowed them to do all the heinous shit they had to do to achieve their goals of creating this new society. If you have enough power and influence, reality can be whatever you want it to be, and very few things are going to challenge you.
We have a sort of grasp over the world.
Elon wants to do a full migration into his hyper-reality, but he can't pull it off. It's not believable enough yet. His main problem is that not enough other guys are joining him in his hyper-reality anymore. The more guys you can get to buy into your simulation, the stronger the pillars necessary to uphold the new reality become. Which brings us back to this. This, right here, is irrefutable proof that the comedy spaceship and the entire Austin comedy toilet is a hyper-real simulacrum of an actual comedy scene. The whole scene is ruled by its god king, the Comedy Czar, Joe Rogan. We already discussed how Joe became the Comedy Czar in our last video, so go watch that if you don't understand what we're talking about here. The Comedy Czar rules over his dominion with complete domination, and as you'll see, the entire scene is designed to strengthen and maintain Joe's personal, hyper-real simulacrum. Joe has been sliding into hyperreality for several years, and is now completely immersed in the simulation. A reality in which he is a very smart, special boy.
My personality that is just immune to bullshit.
He has a unique ability to see what's really going on in the world, and he's helping society by scouting for the otherwise unseen danger up ahead.
I'm like a scout, right? Like if you sent me down the trail, and I'm like, hey, there's a cliff. We're running towards a cliff. Stop, everybody stop. There's a cliff! There's a cliff!
He believes the universe chose him as a sort of prophet, destined to help guide humanity through this age of chaos. But just like Jesus Christ, the people misunderstood and rejected him.
Like the universe has put me in this place where I can at least have access to more opinions than most people. And they're like, you're an anti-vaxxer! You don't believe in science! Hashtag Joe Rogan! I'm taking in opinions from all directions. 360 degrees.
Nice, all right, let's see what Joe scouted up ahead on the trail for us today.
I love Canada.
Shut
up.
I
love the people. I just think they're going down a dark road with this government.
Uh-oh.
They allow polygamy now in Ontario. Yeah, they just passed a law they allow polygamy because they have so many Muslims there.
His hyperreality no longer has any real connection to classic reality. So when did Joe begin this psychic migration? Well, a few years ago he decided LA was the reason his life sucked. So he got the hell out of there, moved down to Austin, Texas.
You saw it during the George Floyd times in LA.
Oh, yeah.
When they were burning those cop cars on the highway, and I remember seeing that going, I gotta get the f out of here.
Oh shit, he actually said it. When he realized he was still miserable in Austin, he had to get the hell out of there again. But he had nowhere else to go, so he began a full-on migration into his simulacrum. Because he's so rich and holds autocratic control over his entire simulacrum, he can be the dictator of what is and isn't real. Like the fact that he's a real comedian, one of the greats. And that the world as we know it is finished. It's the end of the age. Doomsday is upon us.
We are in Kali Yuga.
We are in Kali Yuga.
And the Hindus were very smart in their idea of, it was the Hindus, right?
Yes, the Hindus, yes.
They came up with this idea that there are certain ages, almost unavoidable, of civilizations.
Correct.
That they go through these cycles.
What is the period we're in now? Because it seems like it's coming to an end.
This is Kali Yuga, man. This is some weird shit that was predicted by the Bhagavad Gita. This is
Battle of the Gods, Ragnarok. Tell me.
This is what happens in cultures. Like, it's almost inevitable.
He even has his own theory about what's driving us toward the end of the age.
Hard times create hard men. Hard men create soft times. Soft times create soft men. Soft men create hard times. We are now around soft men in hard times.
In his reality, he's a hard man in a world run by soft men who have allowed the destruction to happen. He's been yelling about that cliff we're all supposedly headed towards, but he feels like nobody's listening. So now he feels like the destruction must happen in order to restore the world back to its proper state.
I don't think we're going to wake up. I think it's going to take something like a natural disaster or some real event, some 9/11 type event. It's just, I don't know where it ends other than a wake up. And a wake up is like a meteor hits us.
As you can observe with your own eyes, this soft, doughy collection of spheres stacked on top of each other thinks he's actually a hard man. But obviously, he's the soft man, making everything worse. He's one of the softest men of all time. Never worked a day in his life, whines and complains for hours on his podcast over the dumbest shit year after year.
How dare we say Merry Christmas?
How dare
Cries hysterically for no reason and thinks sitting in a sauna is some kind of achievement in overcoming adversity.
For the record. Is that fake?
He gets duped constantly by the most obviously fake stories, photoshops, and AI images.
Fact-checked, volcanoes do not produce more CO2 emissions than human activity.
Reuters is on your ass.
Idiot.
Yeah.
And somehow he considers himself one of the greatest comedians of all time. It's embarrassing. It's clear and undeniable that he's living in some sort of inverted alternate reality inside his own mind, just like we said. And if that's upsetting to hear, it's because you are also living in the same kind of hyper-real simulacrum, and that remark just threatened to knock down one of those pillars holding up your alternate reality. You're feeling this right now because once those beliefs become ingrained, the self-preservation instinct activates. And any time those pillar beliefs are challenged, it's experienced as an existential threat because it could collapse the entire simulacrum and drag you back to that classic reality you had to get the hell out of in the first place. Consciousness is really just a big hallucination anyway. It's completely malleable. Change what's in that brain, and you change reality. For example, sometimes our brains get built a little wonky, and you get OCD, schizophrenia, all this stuff that makes your brain unable to stay in one version of reality. Very stressful. Likewise, it's very stressful when the pillar beliefs upholding your hyper-real simulacrum are challenged, as they threaten the stability of and your attachment to reality. It creates existential anxiety, and that anxiety must be relieved without destabilizing the simulacrum, and that often results in horrific consequences. Becoming the Comedy Czar gave Joe an immense amount of wealth, which allowed him to construct a sort of compound in which he could protect his precious simulacrum. A bunker, which would protect him from sliding back into the ever-so-painful classic reality ever again. And using his millions of dollars and massive influence,
Spotify.
Jobel's attracted a flock of devoted followers who uphold and strengthen his new reality for a chance to get a piece of the pie. It takes a whole community to properly uphold a hyper-real simulacrum, and Joe succeeded where Elon failed. Joe has been able to fully complete his migration by amassing a huge support network. He achieved this through several tactics. 1, by offering himself and his show as a friendship simulator during the loneliest era in human history, for his audience, but also for himself.
Oh, he's going. Day drinking rules.
2, in an era of political confusion and turmoil, he became a compass for guys with double-digit IQs who are too lazy to learn anything by themselves and don't even know how to, because they barely know how to read a real book or even a Wikipedia article.
Yeah. Only could figure out what the coaster's for.
3, by becoming a father figure to guys who needed their dad-shaped holes plugged. Those holes longed to be plugged, and Joe became a convenient surrogate. His love and wisdom available 24/7 on Spotify, YouTube, or your podcast app of choice.
Come on.
And 4,
Buffalo Trace. We thought we'd do a sample tasting for you.
by providing an economic incentive model with his podcast becoming the home shopping network.
Tastes good.
As well as a PR washing machine.
This is funny. I went into Lorne Michaels' office, and he was talking, and I was convinced I was getting fired. Like, I knew I was getting fired. And I was like, if I get fired here, whatever, I'll just go do Joe Rogan next week, and I'll be fine.
And through comedy, by creating his own comedy cult with its own built-in multi-level comedy scheme. If you indulge Joe in his new hyper-reality, you'll be rewarded with opportunity. And because that feels so good, you'll soon find yourself migrating across the psychic ocean of your mind, joining Joe inside his simulacrum. That's why it's called the Comedy Mothership. It's a transport vessel that will migrate its believers into their new reality. Which reminds me of another cult, one of my favorites actually, Heaven's Gate. It too was run by a weird bald guy who wouldn't stop talking. This guy, Marshall Applewhite, but his friends called him Doe, which rhymes with Joe. Don't know if Joe designed his cult in homage to Doe's cult, but the similarities are striking. And I even heard a rumor that Joe's dog was named after Marshall Applewhite.
Marshall's trying to say hi to you.
Hey,
buddy.
Doe and Heaven's Gate's beliefs were a cool blend of alien spirituality and Christian apocalyptic prophecy.
I can't wait to get out of here.
Doe believed Jesus was an alien who came to Earth to guide us, and that Doe himself was a messenger from the higher plane of existence, sent here to warn humanity about the upcoming destruction. Sound familiar?
The name Jesus, of course, was the name given to the body, that mind that was indeed from the kingdom of heaven, and that mind came for the express purpose of teaching humans how they could be saved, how they would not be plowed under at the end of the age. Well, we're at the end of the age.
Like the universe has put me in this place where I'm like a scout, right? Like if you sent me down the trail, and I'm like, hey, there's a cliff.
Now, they didn't have podcasts back then, but Doe's lengthy, rambling seminar videos would fit in perfectly to our current podcasting landscape.
When things are going bad,
Many times the worst things in the human kingdom that can happen to us end up being the best things that can happen to us.
there's going to be some good that's going to come from it.
Because we learn in-depth lessons because of those difficult times.
Unexpected problems, good. You learn.
They could actually say, thank you for the lesson.
Through his podcast, I mean his videos, Doe lectured that the end of this age is upon us, that the Earth was about to be transformed, recycled, but they could escape this doom by boarding a spaceship flying behind the comet Hale-Bopp as it passed by Earth.
We are one or two events away from living in the Stone Age again. And I think it could happen in our lifetime, and it could happen to you and I.
People who would consider themselves intelligent beings that say, well, that's absurd. What's all this doomsday stuff? What's all this prophetic stuff?
We're in this very strange sort of existential crisis as a civilization that's not being recognized. And in the meantime, we're distracting ourselves.
You know, intelligent human beings should realize that everything has their cycle. They have their beginning, they have their end, they have cycles.
Hold on, didn't we? Isn't that the exact same?
There are certain ages, almost unavoidable, of civilizations.
Correct.
That they go through these cycles.
They have cycles.
Cycles.
That
they go through these cycles.
They're the exact same fucking guy.
Every civilization, when they're at the brink of collapse, becomes obsessed with gender. The whole thing is falling apart. The foundation of our civilization is falling apart.
Doe offered his followers a way to save themselves from what he called the recycling of planet Earth, which was about to begin. He and the cultists needed to die so that the spaceship flying behind the comet could pick up their souls as they left their bodies, carrying them away to the next level of existence, to a new reality. The cultists all submitted to Doe's authority, believing that he was the gatekeeper through which they could ascend to that next level. The ultimate test came when that comet finally arrived, and they all did a full sui in order to join Doe and board that spaceship. And if you know anything at all about the Austin comedy cult, this all sounds eerily familiar, doesn't it? That's because Doe and Joe are the exact same strain of guy. Think about it. Just like Doe, Joe also offers his followers a way to transcend their lives and enter a new reality by boarding the comedy mothership. The comedy cult's followers also must commit a sui to transcend into that new reality. Not a literal full sui, but the kind of sui that existentialist Albert Camus called a philosophical sui. When we're faced with the absurdity of life, the fact that the universe is pure chaos despite our deep desire for order and meaning, we have two options. You can embrace the absurdity, surf the waves of chaos without copes, or we destroy ourselves, either literally or much more commonly through a philosophical sui. You don't sui your body, but you do sui a part of your inner self. You kill the part of your mind that's inquiring, the part that's honest, the part that embraces life's absurdity without copes, and you fill the hole left behind with things that offer false certainty in place of honest doubt. Religious faith, political partisanship, materialism, hollow spirituality, scientism, hustle-cut culture, digital escapism, reactionary nostalgia, being a fat, drunk idiot all the time, philosophical overthinking. Cultism and guru worship, or complete submission to authority, sometimes all of the above.
Greetings to you, my friends. It's me, D. Trussell.
Take this guy, Duncan Trussell, for example. One of Joe's longtime friends and a former advocate of radical honesty, truth-seeking, and psychedelic wisdom. Not long ago, he was the lone voice of reason in Joe's inner circle, and the only guy to openly predict how Joe would be corrupted by powerful forces looking to exploit him for access to his far-reaching media platform.
People have decided you're one of the magnifying glasses focusing this beam of attention into the world. You have to watch out because people are gonna like try to exploit you. That's the main thing, is like people recognizing what you are, who have political agendas, will infiltrate your shit and then start blowing out their radioactivity into the world. And you have to wrestle with your identity. I worry about you, man.
He was well aware of these billionaire techno-wizard freaks out there, manipulating new media before it became too obvious to deny. He warned Joe about them being a danger over and over again.
We established they're these billionaires, and they live in these compounds. Right. And certainly people like Michael Hastings and other people, they get killed all the time. They're super powerful people who will use technology to kill people to have their own way. So that means that there is some group or series of groups of people that are doing like highly nefarious actions from places of power. Mm-hmm. We know that there is like truly a war to control the paradigm.
He was by all accounts an honest guy, and probably the only guy on that stupid podcast who would rather say what's true than just whatever the burgeoning comedy emperor wanted to hear. But those sorts of qualities are no longer welcome in the Comedy Czar's simulacrum. They're far too threatening. So once Joe migrated into his new reality, Duncan faced the hard choice of either embracing the absurd and maintaining his principles of honesty and truth, or committing a philosophical SUI and joining Joe in his new reality in order to maintain connection to the Comedy Czar's sphere of influence. Oh, Tipahan.
Whatever's happening, you just have to make it a good thing. Anything that's happening to you can be converted into something either that's going to make you scared, self-destructive, rationalize your anger, rationalize your shitty decisions, or it can be used as a thing that completely converts you. Like at any given moment, you can shed your operating system. You could drop all of the hangups, all the weird shit at any moment connected to the great truth, the divine.
That was him 5 years ago. He's since followed through on this new guy conversion, so let's see how connected he is to that great truth. Ooh, that divine.
Let me ask you this, though. What do you think about people who say that someone like Peter Thiel is the Antichrist?
Here's what's fascinating to me about accusing Peter Thiel of being the Antichrist.
Now, Peter Thiel, in case you didn't know this in advance, is one of the primary billionaire techno-wizards we mentioned earlier. With his immense wealth, Thiel wields massive influence in politics, media, and online information from behind the scenes. He says cool stuff like freedom and democracy are actually not compatible. Pete's company, Palantir, is deeply embedded with the CIA, ICE, FBI, NSA, police, and the military-industrial complex, and promises to be the most powerful mass surveillance platform to ever exist. He subscribes to a philosophy that believes that civilization as we know it ought to be destroyed, and from its ashes, a new technocracy should arise, a new state run by a CEO king who wields absolute authority. Pete is part of this new military tech industrial complex, operating with little oversight while creating autonomous weapons and surveillance systems, and whose algorithms remain a complete mystery. He's a caricature of a villain, straight out of a comic book. But Pete is real, and the exact kind of nefarious, influential guy that Duncan used to warn everybody about just a few years ago. All right, back to Duncan. What's he saying about Pete?
Here's what's fascinating to me about accusing Peter Thiel of being the Antichrist.
Stuff. He's very much
give a talk and awesome. And it was like totally normal dude, obviously super smart. There didn't feel like there was any kind of like subversive anything, nothing to really be scared of.
Depressing,
so people
man.
say that Peter Thiel is Antichrist, just for argument's sake.
Fucking says that.
You hear that? He's actually getting mad about this.
Argument's sake.
Fucking says that.
The reason Dunk's got to do this is because the Comedy Czar is actually Pete's friend now. So he had to become a new guy to stay in Joe's circle of power, a shriveled husk of a guy, being fed by the demonic umbilical cord attached to the bowels of the Comedy Czar, from which he can never disengage. He's cooked, finished, and God, look at him, he's just not the same guy. Look in his eyes, it's obvious. Those are Sui eyes. Well, that's a confirmed Sui for Duncan. Rest in peace, man. Quel dommage. Well, once you've entered the Comedy Czar's comedy cult simulacrum, you're expected to do your part to uphold the pillars of this new reality. Upholding the pillars allows you to stay in the cult and potentially reap the rewards that come from its membership. These tenets bind the simulacrum together, and as we already explained, the more guys you've got upholding the pillars, the more stable the new reality becomes, which is vital because if the simulation crumbles, it's all over for this stupid experiment. All cults need their tenets, and the Austin comedy toilet cult, or whatever we're calling it, is no different. Because Joe is the sole autocratic dictator of the entire scene, he could construct his world however he wanted to.
Starting it from the ground up. So it's this completely new thing, and it can kind of go a lot of different ways, and a lot of different things can happen. You don't know what's going to happen one way or the other. Those things are very exciting. It's scary, but it's exciting.
The primary pillar, like all cults, is the steadfast veneration, devotion, and reverence of the cult leader. Just like Jim Jones, Joe originally sold his comedy scene as a utopian paradise.
So make it as fun and as comfortable for the comics as possible, as welcoming to the comics as possible. It's a warm, inviting environment, and the whole idea is just to make it so that I can make it so they feel like this is home.
And just like Jonestown, it quickly devolved into an authoritarian nightmare.
I like the intensity of the mothership. I bring my opener. He's having a rough set. I'm sitting on the balcony watching it. Rogan is standing there watching him bomb like this. Rogan goes, he's bombing, man. He can't be here. And I go, I agree. Kill him. You want to kill him? Kill him right now. We'll break his legs. Get the Navy SEALs. Let's shoot him in the face. And then the kid got off stage, and I felt really bad. I said, listen, you got to go right now. Gonna kill you. Joe is unhappy and it looks really bad. You gotta get out of this club right now.
The cultists all submit to the authority of its charismatic leader who can never be questioned or crossed. He's a supreme leader. In Austin is comedy North Korea. Comedy cultists must pay tribute to the dear leader by praising him and are expected to excessively embellish his abilities, often to an absurd degree.
How many people on Earth do you think could kill you? 100, to be generous?
Maybe.
Very few people can kill you if they want to.
This is straight out of the North Korean playbook, where they pretend their dear leader was the world's greatest golfer after shooting 38 under par on his first ever round, including 11 holes in one. Comedy cultists are expected to study the beliefs of their dear leader and prove their commitment and allegiance by repeating his own opinions back to him.
I was doing the cold plunge after I did the sauna. I've incorporated a new thing that I was telling you where I get up first thing in the morning, I get in the cold plunge.
Sauna cold plunge thing, I'm so into it.
That's awesome.
My hotel choice, I'm solving for places with sauna cold plunge.
Of like a real legitimate professional comedian that can go up and do an hour and kill. How many guys?
Many. Arenas, not many.
Not many. Yeah. Not many for theaters. How many for theaters? Is there 50? 100?
Yeah.
Maybe 100?
Probably less, man.
And by making sure your act panders to dear leader's personal interests and beliefs. You do that, you can tape your special at his spaceship club.
I got 2 daughters. I got a wife. She's a she, her. Just want to let you know that right off the bat. The plumbing matches the pronouns, if you know what I'm talking about.
And really just doing whatever they got to do to appease him, no matter how debasing or humiliating it might be for them.
This is Chris Stefano's very first time ever.
Okay.
Lighting and smoking a cigar.
Okay. Yeah.
Light
is this
cigar.
the right way?
Yeah.
He's going to vomit. I want to see him vomit.
Get it on there. Get it on there. All right, you're good. Just start pulling.
No,
you're not. Breathe in while you're doing that. I felt it in his face. Puff. Keep puffing. There we go.
This is so mean.
Yeah, take a sniff of these bits. Come take a sniff.
Take a smell. Yeah, you want me to go on the other side?
Yes, my king.
Come take a sniff.
Humiliation.
Yeah, that's right. Get in there.
Yeah. Humiliation. That is bad.
Not bad, right? Yeah.
And the most shameful lie of all of them, you got to pretend that dear leader is actually funny. You got to laugh at any attempts at humor, no matter how embarrassing for him or you.
Baby, I'm a baby. It's all about me.
That's what it is.
True. What are you, some kind of communist? Ori! Why?
Like, I'm a legit world-class comic. Like,
World-class.
I'm real.
Yeah. Everybody knows you as a comic.
The lie functions as a loyalty test.
Congratulations on your magnificent success.
Thank you very much.
And you're a comedian too, huh?
Yeah.
No shit.
You were murdering so hard when you're climbing on a stool. I was like, holy f***. Because we all thought you're just like a famous guy. who just does stand-up on the side.
Uh-oh.
And we were like, no, this guy's a murderer.
There it is. This lie is just so egregious, I had to call this brain science guy called Sam to get some perspective. Hey man, yeah, can you just explain how people could be this dishonest?
The harder the lies are to believe, I mean, really, the impossible lie functions like a loyalty test, right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Still.
Code for being in the cult is designed to get
right.
people to believe nothing. So they just realize, okay, who knows?
Yeah, well, lucky man.
I'm just going to be obedient to keep my head down. I'm just going to put a sign in the window, claiming to believe the big lie, so that that no one drags me out of my shop and beats me to death on the sidewalk, right? I mean, like
that makes sense. All right, thanks, man.
It was Hannah Arendt's point.
All right, yep, good. Gotta go. Bye.
When loyalty is everything, if you're a ruler who demands total and complete loyalty, you're going to create a circle of liars around yourself.
Ousted comedian Chris D'Elia tried to defend Joe's last special, but he really struggled to navigate that maze, trying to find that perfect take that's going to convincingly praise that comedy atrocity.
Rogan special came out, and I'm happy about it. It's
sorry,
so crazy
second.
how, like,
my bad.
Obviously I honestly haven't seen the reviews. I saw somebody saying it, and they were like, this is a hacky, this is a hack. And it was straight up just not hacky. The one thing that they have is it's hack. Like super woke people even know what
Hello?
is hack.
Yeah. These appeals to dear leader through praise are made in hope that one day his gracious hand will reach down to them, bless them with his endorsement, and pull them out of their hellish obscurity.
So there's kind of this trickle down, Once Joe Rogan likes me, then your mom's house goes, want to be on our episode. Once Rogan was like, this Jeff Dye guy's really good, then everyone else has to fall in line.
Right, everyone else does.
Now I gotta treat daddy like dad. I gotta kiss the rings, You don't go on Joe Rogan and then start talking shit. Joe's dad.
The second pillar is they are the anti-mainstream, anti-commercial, anti-establishment underdogs. Dear Leader gained much of his power by selling himself as the antidote to corporate mainstream media and culture. His platform is now bigger and more influential than the mainstream media he once stood in opposition to. But because being anti-mainstream was such a fundamental part of his sense of self and his show and his audience's identity, they all have to keep pretending that they are not mainstream. Admitting otherwise could collapse their new reality, so they stick together, upholding that pillar, keeping their simulacrum stable.
Rejection of whatever is whatever people think the comedy industry is, because people think the comedy industry is like some group of people with power that control all and give people specials that don't deserve it. There's all this like weird thoughts about the comedy business, but when the comedy business is only comedians, there's no business element behind it. There's no networks. There's no producers. There's no person, no executive. There's none of that. So it's just wild.
Dear Leader is a billionaire, but instead of running his own show, he's still partnered with the tech establishment. He and all the cultists are connected to the biggest corporations on Earth, but still they maintain a facade of being independent DIY artists. As we all know, Joe got in tight with the U.S. regime and became the government's own Comedy Czar. The regime's comedy puppet dictator, like Comedy Lukashenko. He's now literally an extension of the U.S. government. But inside the reality of the mothership cult, he's still the anti-mainstream underdog. And obviously this makes no sense at all, but because all this is taking place inside an anti-reality simulacrum, it somehow just works.
You have like comedic instincts. Like when you said to Hillary, you'd be in jail. Like that's great timing.
It's funny, you need at least the attitude of a comedian when you're doing this business.
It's the most dangerous business.
Being president is the most dangerous.
Especially you. Imagine if there was assassination attempts on Biden.
Pillar 3, they are real comedians, a special class of human, an elite artist class. Comedy is sacred. And the mothership is both a holy temple.
I was in the mothership last night, and that audience were like church.
And the center of the comedy universe.
The comedy mothership is the hub of comedy in the world.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's comedy mecca. The green room is the Kaaba, the house of God. Being granted entry is considered one of the cult's highest honors.
We laugh in that green room, and the best thing about the green room is how restrictive it is. You know, that you just can't go in there.
The Comedy Czar considers his entry into comedy a religious experience. That transformative moment where he was converted, baptized by Mitzi Shore, and transcended from a civilian into a real comedian.
I remember thinking, I gotta get to the Comedy Store. It was like,
it's Mecca.
It was Mecca. It was a religious call. I mean, if there was anything like that in my life, that was it. She passed me as a non-paid regular after my first audition. I couldn't sleep that night. I'm a real comedian. I'm a real comedian.
Dear Leader's beloved Saint Mitzi must be revered and venerated by the cultists as their adopted spiritual deity. There's this guy here, Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll T again.
No, he's not a comic, he's a singer, but he has successfully joined the mothership cult by carefully studying and obeying the pillars. Here he is performing for Dear Leader, showing his reverence for Saint Mitzi, crying about and praising the woman he's never met.
Speaking of Mitzi's, I was so inspired by the way the mothership has Mitzi's, and it's like an honor to Mitzi's. Touch my soul in such a way. What y'all have created there is spreading on to, damn, you almost got me emotional talking about a woman I never even met. I just know she did so much for you.
Doing stand-up is a transcendent spiritual experience that only real comics will ever be able to tap into.
But Richard Dawkins is never killed on stage. He doesn't know the connection between human beings that comes through laughter and joy in that way.
Walk to the women's locker room with a heart.
Dear Leader draws a stark distinction between the comedian class and what he calls civilians, regular guys, lower-tier humans. This Hassan guy explains some of the differences between higher-tier humans, comedians, and the lower-tier average human, and how difficult it can be to even be around such low-tier guys.
Our ability to talk to literally anyone is a skill set. Like,
totally.
Do you ever have to, when you go to like a party with your ladies' work friends?
Yes.
And you're like, bro, there are fucking just goobers out here. Yeah, just office banter. I was at a work thing with my wife. We're like in a building, and outside the window, it looked like someone was about to jump off.
Oh, wow.
The guy goes, he's like, is that guy like, is he walking on the roof? I go, the part didn't go his way, so he's just.
yeah. And they're like,
Pillar 4, they are brave truth tellers and victims of an authoritarian mob of censors. They need to be seen as oppressed victims so they can appear as heroes for standing up to the threat. Inside their simulacrum, they are the modern-day incarnations of guys like Lenny Bruce, Dick Gregory, and Mort Saul. Look them up.
We're drinking, my friends, in the Last Chance Saloon. What I'm saying on stage tonight is barely acceptable now. In 10 years' time, forget about it. You'll say, I saw a man, and he stood on stage, and he made light of serious situations. We used to call them jokes.
An us versus them mentality is a hallmark of cult psychology. Jim Jones fabricated threats like government persecution and fascist takeovers all the time, and he taught his followers that his temple was the only safe place from the dangerous and decaying outside world. The Heaven's Gate followers believed that they and the rest of humanity were under the control of deceptive lower-tier aliens called Luciferians, false gods who controlled Earth's religions, governments, and media, corrupting the minds of humans. The only way to escape the Luciferian threat was to submit to Do, Sui out of this world, and get on that spaceship. This fosters paranoia and isolation, which helps bind the cultists together and keeps them fearful and loyal to the leader. The mothership comedy cult Toilet Piss Pipe employs the same psychological strategy. Like Heaven's Gate's Luciferians, the comedy piss cult also fabricated a make-believe enemy to set themselves apart from and blame for everything.
Woke. It's very dangerous.
A nebulous, undefined, and amorphous outgroup that is somehow both completely feckless and able to wield widespread domination over our entire society.
They're out of their f***ing mind. They want to force people to behave and think a very certain way. Well, they're just nuts.
He is terrified of a shadow, a construction in his mind formed by a social media feed.
You can never be woke enough. That's the problem. It keeps going. And if you get to the point where you agree to all these demands, it'll eventually get to straight white men are not allowed to talk.
Oh, no.
You're not allowed to go outside.
Damn it. Oh, please tell me you're joking.
I mean, I'm not joking.
Shit. Well, the good news is the comedy cult's here to save us all. Thank God. The mothership is their sanctuary where woke meets the wall.
In the comedy world, we say we're the last line of defense. We're the woke meets the wall. If you want to never make fun of marginalized groups, it's like, no.
In the Austin Hell Toilet, because their comedy is not funny, they know it doesn't hold up to criticism. So they need to pretend that the criticism is some kind of attack. Then they can all rally together to defend themselves from it. And to prevent the defensive line from breaking, followers are programmed to believe that they can't survive outside the cult.
One of the ways that I describe comics, I go, you're either like a village or an island. And villages do way better. An island is a man on his own out there that does his own shows and doesn't hang out with comics. You didn't have any comics for friends? There's a lot of fucking sad people out there.
Yeah, no, don't be a cool island guy. Give yourself to the cult, migrate to that new reality, and you'll be able to achieve things you never thought possible. Because they aren't possible, really, unless you're doing it inside the simulacrum. But that's your new reality now, so that's okay. But don't ever make the mistake of going against the pillars or disrespecting the Comedy Czar.
No.
Or you'll be swiftly ejected from the group. It's back to classic reality for you.
You're gonna get more people that are very uncomfortable with their own lives and want to live a different life. Well, when you think about where this is all headed, there's only a few different directions that one could go to, and simulated reality is a big one. It's coming.
It's already here, and you're in it. We don't need to invent brain implants or anything like that. Our brains are already configured to live in artificial reality. All you need is a reason. If your career's about to expire because your entire fan base is headed to the glue factory, migrating to the simulacrum offers you access to a whole new, younger audience.
And I'm pretty emotional about the mothership. I think that the universe used you just to get me back out of this fucking hole that I was in. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know.
If you got anxiety about not being funny, you can eliminate that by knowing you can always just do a boring, boilerplate TED Talk soapbox sermon about one of the pillars, and the cult followers will love it.
Apparently, I'm not very PC. I'm not one of those people who tries so fucking hard to like prove how woke, what a good person. You know what I mean? It's so exhausting.
You don't even have to be a comic to join and reap the benefits of this simulacrum. There are many cultists who work in other fields that personally interest the Comedy Czar, like science.
I've been talking to scientists and doctors and biologists and virologists for months and months and months.
And if you're an academic guy rapidly approaching the end of your career and you're spiraling inside because you're scared to die without leaving behind that meaningful legacy you always dreamed about.
You know this question, like, what has Eric Weinstein ever done? I actually have been scared of this question. And I've lived afraid of my own story.
You can just pretend you're the new Einstein. Create your own new theory of everything. Just write whatever you want. It doesn't matter.
What is this thing that you handed me? What is this?
It's the theory of everything. A water wiggle structure about a circle that nobody's ever seen that is at every point in space and time.
It doesn't matter that it doesn't make any sense in classic reality. In the simulacrum, the followers are so stupid that they won't know if it makes sense or not. They can't tell, it's just a bunch of bullshit.
You're spinning that circle over and over again. So this is an actual model of a gauge theoretic concept.
And since you got the Comedy Czar's endorsement, whatever you say is brilliant, even though they have no idea what you're even talking about.
Can a piece of paper effectively will two hands into drawing each other into existence?
This seems pretty crazy, eh? Well, a while back, these Weinstein guys accidentally revealed the entire motivation behind their schemes.
When we do our homework and we discover something interesting, and absolutely nobody else gets it, to you and me, that feels good. To know that you have achieved something and that nobody else can even recognize it gives you some sort of sense of how far ahead you might be.
Remember, it's not a lie if you believe it. Inside the simulacrum, you're now the genius you always wanted to be. And you can stop worrying about being a failure.
What made you want to do this?
When you ask why as a kid, what happens if you keep asking?
Great question.
You either end up in theoretical physics or an insane asylum. And so I just didn't stop.
If you want to become a stoic genius guru kind of guy who knows everything about life, a cold, logically calculated debate, God, but you're actually a hysterical, emotional baby, overwhelmed by everything, has no idea what's real, and can't discuss anything without spiraling out and melting down like a child.
It's also overwhelming.
Well, the simulacrum followers will pretend you're not doing all that stuff. And you can be that guru guy. You can get exposed in classic reality for claiming that the definition of belief is...
If you believe something, you stake your life on it.
So you're saying that you don't believe something if you wouldn't die for it?
Not really, no.
While also getting caught completely believing in Chinese involuntary human semen milking factories.
Jordan Peterson just unironically retweeted a video of a BDSM male milking dungeon in the UK claimed to be footage of human rights abuses in China.
Does he think that the Chinese government has special facilities where men can go and have, like, their penises pumped?
I think he does. I think he does.
Which, by his own logic, means he would die for Chinese semen milking factories, which ought to make a guy certifiably insane. But not in the simulacrum, where you'll remain the wise guru. Simulacrum migrants also gain access to the cult's Copadex, a reference guide of pre-made dogmatic copes, a virtually endless collection of excuses for anything you could possibly be criticized for. These copes are born inside Dear Leader's own brain and trickle down throughout the simulacrum for all to use.
How come you're not looking at your own self with the same scrutiny that you look at this extremely successful person?
Yeah.
It's because you're jealous.
So many people hate me for really no reason, and it really made me realize that, like, people only hate somebody they're jealous of.
You know, like, people don't like him because, you know, whether you judge his comedy or judge his podcast or judge whether, you also have to judge how he looks, and he's a beautiful man, built like a Adonis. It really makes people uncomfortable, me included. I'm his friend.
I mean, people don't want to laugh at, like, physically attractive people. Like, you don't want to walk on stage and have people looking at your arms rather than listening to your jokes.
And when you can't get a date and nobody wants to you, because statistically nobody wants to date people who live in your hyper-real simulacrum, you can ease your inner turmoil by uttering the sacred comedy cult mantra.
It's definitely not me. I think it's everybody else.
So, as you've seen with all this scientific evidence and logic here, these facts, joining the comedy cult can offer tremendous opportunities. Submit to the leader. Perform your sui. Become a new guy if you have to. Migrate into the simulacrum. And help uphold its supportive pillars. That's the blueprint, and a lot of guys are on that path. But there's one guy who has followed the path of Dear Leader better than anyone. His name, is Tony Hinch. Oh, sorry. I've just been dreading getting to this section. You know we try to be positive on here, but sometimes you gotta examine some real dark, depressing shit. This guy exemplifies what commitment to the cult and its tenets can offer in return. His origin story is eerily similar to the Comedy Czar.
The reason why I became a martial arts champion because I was being picked on all the time. Right. Kids were always f***ing with me. I was like, I don't like this. I'm like, so I'm going to become what I'm terrified of.
As a little boy, Tony was also getting bullied every day. He was walking around terrified.
It's a lot of fear, a lot of danger. And my whole way of handling that is if anybody ever tried anything with me, I would just make fun of them.
So he became what he feared the most. A big dumb asshole, a bully. But I don't know what kind of protection it provided because he says here that his jokes just led to him being punched in the face.
One of my good friends, I made fun of him because his grandma walked him out to the bus stop. He punched me right in the face.
And just like the Comedy Czar and almost all the guys in this comedy cult, he had a real bad dad.
I didn't have like a dad to complain or to go to the parent-teacher meetings.
So while he was getting pounded in the head every day for being a big dumb asshole, his bad dad pieced out and went and got remarried. Which is fine, whatever, it happens. But this bad dad had decided to keep Tony's entire existence a complete secret to his new wife and family.
My mom told me that my dad travels a lot, my dad works a lot. I mentioned to my mom, I go, hey, Dad's car is in this one house's driveway a lot. My mom like turned pale white. She told me everything that it's a lot. That's how someone like me gets made.
So Tony ran away, and like many before him, his gaping dad hole in quest for external validation took him to the mecca of insecurity, Hollywood. He soon found his way to the Comedy Store, got a job answering the phone or cleaning toilets or whatever, and he found something he probably didn't expect, a new dad. He started opening up for Dad on tour, and got his first taste of that long sought-after external validation from his audience. But it was a lot of work, too much work, really. He thought, what if there's a way to get even more laughs while doing even less work, while also being able to satisfy his sadistic compulsions? So he started his own show, Kill Tony, his ultimate scheme.
Guys, give it up for Tony Hinchcliffe.
Generally speaking, I try to separate the scheme from the schemer, appreciate the beauty of a good scheme, and it's a brilliant scheme, it really is. How it works is his show allows him to be on stage at all times, getting attention without having to do anything at all, really. If the show is ever funny, it's because of the guests. He'll brag about how funny this Trump-Biden episode was, but that was these guys who made it funny.
Come on, huh? Come on.
But since reality can be whatever he wants it to be, Tony can easily pretend that the laughs the show generates are all actually for him.
3 times you got married.
Honestly, that's not that bad.
What did Tony even do? Nothing really. A few snide remarks here and there and just basic MC duties. The show is abuse, disguised as comedy. Tony took this idea from the world of professional wrestling. What makes pro wrestling so compelling is the concept of kayfabe, a collective suspension of disbelief, maintaining the illusion that the characters, the fights, and the drama are all real. Kill Tony runs on comedy kayfabe, but Tony flipped it. Where wrestling is fun theater disguised as violence, Kill Tony is violence disguised as fun theater.
There's very few people willing to admit that they miscarried. Was that a sad time for you?
It was the lowest point in my life.
Really? He's calling in right now. We have word.
Despite all of them being followers of a comedy cult, they're all miserable.
I'm encouraging you to quit right now. I think when you find that job, I think you should quit. I don't see it happening for you. Eleanor, you knew me when I was 24. I was already 2 years
Right, but you're not autistic.
Stand over there by the red X. You're really getting a little close. Nope, the other direction, AJ. Thank you.
Kill Tony is supported by the same pillars as the broader Austin comedy colon cult, which, as we've proven, are all complete inversions of classic reality. Tony is the megalomaniacal dictator. He must be submitted to and respected. He is a roast god. Comedy Czar proclaims that Tony is the greatest roast comedian alive. And if that idea is ever threatened, he loses his mind. He got very upset when this Jeremiah guy was getting too many laughs roasting the roastmaster.
You don't do that.
You don't do that.
Oh, no, never, never.
Why not?
Against the rules.
This guy looks bi. Bye.
You.
Takes one to know one.
Yes. Go have your magic moment. This is the biggest thing in your career. Go do it. Go get it. Go get it. Is that a school bus attached to your face? You flaming homosexual. Takes one to know one.
Yep.
He allegedly cemented his title with this performance at the Tom Brady roast in 2024. If you actually listen to his jokes, they're they're really just okay.
Tom Brady. Why do you look like a gay Tom Brady?
But his fellow comedy cultists on stage help sell them and show you how to react. This is straight out of pro wrestling. They all sell the joke in the same way a wrestler sells his opponent's attack. This joke here got a huge reaction. People in the Austin simulacrum were literally talking about it for days.
Bert Kreischer is the king. He looks like if the Tiger King and the Liver King only ate Burger King and had a liver that looked like Martin Luther King got beat up by Rodney King.
And I'm sitting here over and over again hearing how brilliant this was. Just feeling completely bamboozled, because I already heard this joke on another roast 10 years ago.
Lisa, Larry King, Don King, Rodney King, and Billie Jean King in a Burger King bathroom.
Tony also got a huge buzz after he did this infamous joke roasting Puerto Rico.
I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah, I think it's called Puerto Rico.
And again, I'm just confused because it was even better when this guy, Dylan Jarboe, did it on Kill Tony back in 2021.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's currently a 500-mile peninsula of trash in the Atlantic Ocean, and I used to live there. It's called Florida.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna write that one down. I did like this joke he did about how murderers never seem to dig deep enough graves.
I know how to get away with murder now. Because I know where everybody that gets caught always f***s up. Yeah, they always get a little lazy around burial time. You know what I never see on those crime shows? The The body was discovered after being buried 75 feet deep in the ground.
Until I realized it was just a cover of a Norm Macdonald joke.
Like, these serial killers are supposed to be so shrewd and cunning, but then when it comes time for the grave, they get a little hasty, you know? And I would never, ever kill a lady in cold blood. But if I did, I would take her body to the woods and bury her in a very, very, very deep grave.
I'd rather listen to the proper original, personally. But what do I know? And yeah, some people will say it's easy to arrive at similar joke concepts, but it's Norm Macdonald, for Christ's sake. It'd be like a musician putting this riff in their song, then being like, hey, I didn't know. I just arrived at a similar concept, I guess. But again, this is Hyperreality. Nothing has to make sense from out here in classic reality. Here's Tony without the team of writers and a teleprompter, put on the spot when Bill Maher requests a roasting.
No crowd work on you.
No, come on, do some crowd work. Ask me where I'm from.
Where are you from?
New Jersey. Come on. There's a slow pitch down the middle of the plate, bro. New Jersey.
That is a shithole, wow. Indeed.
Well, come on, you could do better than what you're famous.
Just like the Comedy Czar tells the mothership cult, Tony also tells his flock that they are under attack by powerful forces.
Free speech is under attack, people. I host a show, and each week I get updates what words we're allowed to use and not use anymore. It's happening right now the past few years. It's a real thing.
He explains here that the reason he chose a political side was because the other side was supposedly censoring him. Tony twists his personal choice of opting for YouTube ad revenue over free expression as an attack from the enemy mob.
I've never considered myself a very political guy. We found out from YouTube that there's new words that they want us to censor. New words that you have to bleep out or you don't make money anymore. So I've become like a free speech angry guy.
He became a free speech guy by becoming a censorship guy, censoring himself to get that paycheck as if the Netflix deal wasn't enough.
That's what Kill Tony is. There's no business element behind it. There's no networks.
That's the kind of backwards logic that only works inside this comedy simulacrum. Just an incredible example of the ability these cultists have to bend reality. The show is sold as a chance to transcend the rungs of human existence to that higher level, to a high-tier real comedian.
That you are indeed the newest golden ticket winner here.
But what it actually is a multi-level comedy scheme, exploiting people's hopes of getting the hell out of their lives, and funneling money up to the top of the comedy pyramid to the big man, the Comedy Czar, everyone involved taking a little piece of the pie on the way up. The vibe of the show is terribly depressing, like watching a bunch of demons torturing lost souls.
Look at it, boy, looking like he on trial for touching kids. He can't even say that.
You look gay.
Try to do better next time.
You suck. There will be no next time.
You're blacklisted. Go.
Anything that interrupts their sadistic ritual gets flushed right out of there. Even the great Ric Flair was shat upon just for daring to be real.
Oh, I'm a wrestling coach for a high school.
Oh my God, this is so boring. Holy shit. Ric Flair, can you please tell us a story?
Actually, to be honest with you, I respect that very much. My son was a great amateur wrestler. He died of a heroin overdose.
Oh.
In 2013. I don't need to hear that, but anybody that could take time away from their life to support kids from personal experience, and because I believe it in my heart.
Tony supposedly reveres this guy.
A human living legend. Look at Tony. He's flabbergasted.
He's the man. He's literally the man.
But in this context, it's all about Tony and maintaining his kayfabe.
Because I believe it in my heart.
Show's depressing, man.
You ever had Asian pussy?
I will never sign up to make fun of people that donate their time to making children better.
Maybe it's me, though. I don't know. Maybe I am the asshole. I'm gonna see what people are saying about their recent show in London. We got some voicemail here from a few guys in attendance. Let me see what they're saying.
I was stage right, and every scumbag up there booed non-stop for everything, and laughed when they got any reaction or could make a comic react. Booze, fights, people up and down to get drinks or a sniff in the bathrooms, and people so fucked up they didn't know where their seats were.
Comedy is fun.
These three blokes dressed as cowboys were sitting at the back, throwing things and being loud by all accounts, but I just noticed when they threw something at the women in front of me. So I stood up and threw some sweets at them, and then I put my jumper on, walked up there and slapped one of the cowboy hats off their head. Then me and the three of them had a good brawl, and I thought it went rather well. But afterwards it turns out I had a couple of great big cuts on my head, so I'm not sure how that happened because their punches actually seemed very weak, and I didn't get any black eyes, bruises or broke nose. Then I left the building sharpish and went home to bed. Did anyone see if they had any weapons? Because I've come away with some nasty lacerations that's going to scar me face.
That sounds like a comedy show to me. Good, good, good. But yeah, it's a toxic environment. That's why it was the perfect place for Tony to transition into his final new guy. That's why it's called Kill Tony. It's where the old original Tony went to die. He unveiled his fully transitioned self with his most recent comedy special, tweet thing. And that's why that is called Garbage. Tony in, garbage out. And this new Tony just seems even more pissed off. He seems to still be following in the Comedy Czar's footsteps, right off a cliff. But when a guy doesn't have a real male role model, and all he's got is the Comedy Czar, what else could you expect? And now he spends time on the show doing these deranged, awkward rants about whatever dumb shit most recently pissed him off. Just like Dad.
But I came back home because I faced anti-Semitism.
You know, I hear this, but it's kind of funny because, like, if you make fun of an Italian, there's no word for that. If you make fun of everybody else, it's racist. Your people have a special word for racism. What do you think that means? If you take yourself out of the picture, what do you think about your people having a special word for just you? And what exactly did they say or do to you there?
They said, like, go back to, you know, Poland, all the normal shit.
But you've never been to Poland?
No, my ancestry is Ukrainian.
Oh, wow. There's some uneducated idiots that are rooting for you now, not realizing that that country's stealing our money.
Comedy show.
I'm a doctor.
What was your schooling like? Super Canadian?
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people don't know this, but I study the Canadian healthcare system because they brag about how good it is. And I like to do my own research just to make sure that I live in the greatest country on planet Earth, and I do. But Canada does rights now for anybody that wants one. Am I correct?
No.
I know more about your system than you because I have a bit about it.
Hopefully you can tell by now that that right there is a guy who has fully migrated into a simulacrum. There really is something in the eyes, eh? Suey eyes. That's definitely a real thing. It's hard to believe, but all this crazy shit is how the top of the comedy world works now. I was tempted to end the investigation there, but I just kept staring up at that photo of David Lucas.
When you ask why as a kid, what happens if you keep asking? You either end up in theoretical physics or an insane asylum. And so I just didn't stop.
And it got me thinking, if Tony can build his own simulacrum nested inside of the Comedy Czar's simulacrum, then what if Joe the Comedy Czar's simulacrum is also nested inside a bigger, more powerful simulacrum? Well, guess what? It is. You just need to follow the breadcrumbs. It's actually not that difficult. Everything's right out in the open, which is part of this bigger cult strategy. They hide in plain sight, and they lay their plans out in public for all to see, because people tend to think if this were real, they would be hiding it.
What's your problem?
Anyways, remember Joe's buddy Duncan? Warning him about what might happen now that Joe's podcast had become so massive and influential? About guys from deep dark wells of influence penetrating Joe like a battering ram and using him to blow radioactivity all over the world? Well, he was spot on. And thanks to Guru David's guidance, we figured out who those evil penetrators are. They are a self-fulfilling, prophetic doomsday cult, run by technocratic billionaires who want the world to crumble so they can rule over its ashes. An Armageddon death cult, obsessed with the demise of humanity, and hell-bent on making it happen as soon as possible. Comedy. I discovered this plot almost by accident while taking a break from all that thinking. I sat in the tree outside my cabin, started reading this book I picked up at a garage sale in town. It was called The Lord of the Rings. And, while reading it was supposed to be a break from all that thinking about the comedy hell world, but it actually ended up illuminating the pathway to the truth about how comedy got so shit So, in this story, these ancient elf guys created magic orbs called the Palantiri. These orbs allowed guys to see and communicate across vast distances with other guys who had an orb. The orbs were meant to help gain and share knowledge and make society work better, but you had to be very smart and strong-willed to use this technology. And just like in our world, most people are just really stupid. It's just the way it is. These orbs weren't inherently evil, they didn't necessarily lie, but they could show a selectively narrow version of reality. And if you had a double-digit IQ and tried to use one, you'd end up confused, misled, and completely dominated. And that's when I realized the guy who wrote this thing must be some sort of genius, because he perfectly predicted the internet and how it was going to break everybody's brain. And in the book, the bad guy is this guy called the Dark Lord. Well, the Dark Lord got a hold of one of those Palantir orbs, and he used it to dominate and reshape the minds of a bunch of influential guys who happened to have orbs too, like the boss of all the wizards, and this guy Denethor, the ruler of some kingdom castle or whatever. Using the orbs, the Dark Lord led both these guys to fully believe the apocalypse was upon them, and that there was nothing they could do to change it. He figured if these influential guys could be convinced the end times were upon them, there would be a trickle-down effect, where everyone would believe it, feel completely helpless, and just kind of give up, let the Dark Lord take over. The wizard boss guy reacted by joining the Dark Lord in his quest for domination, because if that Dark Lord is bound to win the war, he might as well be on the right side at the end of it. It's a philosophical suey. And poor old Denethor turned to utter despair and decided to just let Sauron get on with it, let his kingdom be dominated by the Dark Lord before doing a proper full suey himself. Oh yeah, there was this other king who didn't have a magic orb, so Saruman sent this guy, Wormtongue, nasty guy, to just go whisper in his ear, and it had the same effect. The point is, these guys essentially all got put inside a hyper-real simulacrum by the Dark Lord using that orb technology. The visions presented to them in the orb became their new reality, and because they were so weak and stupid, losers really, they were convinced there was no way forward except to embrace the apocalypse by joining that Dark Lord, or by going full suey. Why the f*** am I talking about this stupid book bullshit? Because the internet is our magic orb. But unlike this book, in our world, everybody has one. In the book, the Dark Lord loses the war because the humans got a new king who still lived in classic reality. But imagine if every guy in this Ring story had an orb, and not just a couple of the leader guys. Even this new king wouldn't be able to convince enough people to defend the castle. The Dark Lord would have won for sure. Anyway, it's a good book. Check it out if you know how to read. Because that's kind of exactly what this Doomsday cult we're talking about did. They created and then gifted to us our Palantiri, the internet, social media, podcasts. They used their techno-wizardry to seize control of human behavior and thought, creating their Palantiri to be both completely addictive and to devolve all human interaction into complete negativity. Once that happens, our I gotta get the hell out of here gene activates, and when there's nowhere else to go, the cult offers escape pods into their simulacrum, which really are psychic apocalypse bunkers. The cult's goal is to destroy what they call the cathedral, which encompasses all the elements of our society that influence our thoughts and beliefs about the world. Everything from public education and universities to cultural industries, the media, and of course the new mainstream media like podcasts. Once all these institutions are destroyed, the cult can assume control of all of them, and then they can dictate public opinion and the direction our society should go, which for them is an authoritarian monarchy run by an autocratic CEO king. They call this the Dark Enlightenment. People have been talking about this already, but for some reason nobody has ever pointed out that comedy is also part of the cathedral. Because comedy is a tool that can cut through the illusion of hyperreality, one that can topple the pillars that uphold a simulacrum. They must destroy it. They've been doing this for as long as comedy has been a thing. And the cult identified their perfect target to infiltrate both the comedy and podcast world, the most gullible man in mainstream media. It was so easy. They just led Joe down the path into the simulacrum with money and validation, and now he's their mainstream media puppet. And comedy is fucking crumbling, taken over by the cult. You think this is crazy? Who are the guys at the top of this cult? It's J.D. Vance.
We're letting a grown man walk around in a miniskirt in broad daylight?
It's the techno-wizard billionaires. It's Elon. Mark Andreessen.
Sure, these things are being censored.
It's fucking Peter Thiel.
Talk about what's gone wrong in the U.S. because
they're all friends of the show. Weird, eh?
Everything's so much worse, you know?
Hello? They use comedy and podcasting as a fun Trojan horse to sneak themselves into the culture. And Joe and all his enablers let it all happen. Just sold out the entire comedy world. All while he preaches about the importance of comedy and how much it means to him.
It was a religious call.
It's all a ruse, a great big scheme, a spectacle, comedy kayfabe.
250 comics.
In the cult's hyper-reality, he's the head of comedy. But in classic reality, he's the gangrenous toe of the comedy world, slowly spreading its vile infection throughout the rest of its body. It's messed up, man, but that's how comedy got so shit. I mean, I think we all knew it was Joe Rogan's fault, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think most people realize he's just one part of an intricate and pervasive takeover of the entire country. And if you're a comedy cultist and you want to write this off as a conspiracy theory, you should remember the teachings of Dear Leader.
When you do have an open mind and you are compelled to try to seek the truth, you got to be aware that these things have happened in history. They are real. As much as people who look for conspiracies and everything, there are also people who try to dismiss everything. And you have to be very careful because there are a lot of things that people do conspire to do.
Joe's legacy will forever be the guy who destroyed comedy. Probably the entire U.S., honestly. All the crazy shit the government is doing, Joe did that. Because in the president's own words, Joe won him the election.
He basically said, I won him the election.
And he sold out comedy to make it happen. And it should never be forgiven.
I thought you boys understood. It's business. That's all it is. There ain't no countries anymore. No more good guys. They're running the whole show. They own everything, the whole goddamn planet. They can do whatever they want. Now they're gonna let us have it good if we just help them. They're gonna leave us alone. Let us make some money. You can have a little taste of that good life too. Now I know you want it. Hell, everybody does. Do it to your own kind. We all sell out every day. Might as well be on the winning team.
How does this all end? Well, how do most cults end? Usually in some kind of terrible tragedy. Waco, Heaven's Gate, Jonestown. Who knows if those simulacrum pillars will hold? They're shaky right now because nobody wants to uphold the Jeffrey Epstein pedo pillar. But it kind of has to be upheld. It's a load-bearing pillar. And it looks like they're expecting the Comedy Czar to fall in line and get rid of the controversy.
What the fuck are they doing?
On Trump's desperate attempt to quell political blowback, the White House reportedly, quote, asking podcaster Joe Rogan to help ease the uproar over the Epstein files.
What's he gonna do?
I mean, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna push back?
Right, no, of course. No, of course not, sir. Is the Comedy Czar gonna become Comedy Prigozhin, build out his personal militia, become a mercenary force attached to the U.S. military, maybe go for the coup? Or maybe he becomes Comedy Colonel Kurtz, holed up in his bunker, completely disillusioned by civilization, a cult leader with an insatiable lust for power, descending into madness, waiting for the apocalypse.
See ya, boys.
Well, whatever happens, I think Joe should move the Mothership Wall of Fame a few more feet, right into the bathroom there, if he and his followers are just gonna piss and shit on these guys' so-called legacies. And as for the rest of us, I guess, well, try to identify if you're in a simulacrum and get the hell out of there. Go outside and anchor yourself in classic reality. Stick your feet in the mud, observe the bark patterns of trees, feel the warmth of the summer sun on your face, do some can gazing. The more anchored you are in classic reality, the less easily you'll be sucked up into any of these embarrassing hyper-realities. Good luck with that. For me, I'm anchoring with a dip-a-day program right now, which means every day I'm jumping in that fucking lake, swimming around doing about 50 laps to the rock and back. That's no big deal for me. And then back to shore, cracking open a cold one and lying in the sun as the water evaporates off my skin and rises back up into the clouds, where it'll become rain and fall once again to the earth. The cycles. I'm gonna do that right now. Okay, good. Gotta go. Bye.